everyone for this international conference, and let us quickly start with the first presentation. We call upon Melteam. Yeah, please share your screen, right, and request you to stick for the time for maximum of 8 minutes, right?
Yes.
Thank you. You can share the screen, I guess. Yeah, please check it out.
Yes.
Yeah, please.
Can you see my screen?
We can see. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much.
Welcome.
Hello, everyone. Today I will present my paper titled Wearable and Flexible Humidity Sensor Fabrication Using PET Printing Technique. This is my contents. My paper consists of 4 parts: introduction, methods, results and discussion, and conclusion. With the development of smart materials and the increase in their functionality, electronics and textiles have come together. Smart textiles consist of 3 groups: passive smart textiles, active smart textiles, and very smart textiles. Passive smart textiles only detect the change in the environment or the user. Active smart textiles can respond to stimuli from the environment. Very smart textiles perceive and respond to environmental stimuli and adapt themselves to change in the environment. Many different methods are used to transform traditional textiles into electronic textiles. These are embroidery, knitting, coating or lamination, chemical treatment, printing techniques. Many different printing techniques are available, such as inkjet printing, screen printing, gravure printing, and PET printing. PET printing is the oldest printing technique, and it transfers the pattern taken from the gravure plate onto the substrate via silicone rubber pads. PET printing is simple and fast method. In the study, wearable humidity sensor was printed on polyamide-based label fabric with a PET printing machine using nickel and silver conducting. In order to observe the behavior of the printed humidity sensor against humidity, resistance measurements was made with respect to change in relative humidity in a closed humidity chamber. Chemicals and materials: nickel conducting, silver conducting, industrial thinner, and polyamide-based label fabric was used in the study. Ink formulation: nickel ink and silver ink was added into a beaker, then industrial thinner was added into the mixture. And printing ink was stirred on a magnetic stirrer in order to obtain homogeneous printing ink. Here we can see the humidity sensor design. And this design is interdished electrode structure, and the sensor consists of 20 IDE. The printing process was applied on polyamide-based label fabric with a PET printing machine, and 3 and 5 different pass numbers was applied in order to increase the conductivity and have a more homogeneous print. After the printing process, we apply sintering processes. We apply different sintering processes, such as 120 degree for 30 minutes, 150 degree for 15 minutes, 150 degree for 30 minutes. Oscillatory point probe system was used to determine the conductivity of the printed samples after sintering process. Conductivity values according to different sintering temperatures and duration is given on this table. According to the table, it is seen that the pass number providing the highest conductivity is 5. The temperature and duration of the sintering process, which provides the best conductivity, is 150 degree and 30 minutes. Therefore, the 5-pass printed humidity sensor was used by sintering at 150 degree for 13 minutes. Performance analysis of humidity sensor against humidity. A humidity chamber was created to investigate the behavior of the printed humidity sensor against different humidity levels. And here we can see the humidity chamber image, and this chamber consists of humidifier, a commercial humidity meter, fixing tool, multimeter, and computer. Humidity chamber were subject to varying relative humidity ranging from 65% to 100%. The resistance values of the humidity sensor were measured with Kitley multimeter. After the resistance values of the humidity sensor were measured at room conditions, the humidity values in the chamber were increased from 40% to 100%, but no resistance value could be measured on the electrode of the sensor until humidity reached 65%. The relative humidity in the chamber was increased from 65 to 100, then it was reduced from 100% to 65% relative humidity. Here we can see the resistance relative humidity graph of the humidity sensor. And for the absorption line, the resistance values of the sensor was measured as 13.4 megaohm at 65%, and the resistance value of the sensor was measured as 0.16 megaohm at 100% relative humidity. When the absorption line was examined, it is seen that the R-square value is 0.97. This value shows that the curve is quite close to the linear. For the desorption line, the resistance value of the sensor was measured as 0.16 megohm at 100% relative humidity, and the resistance value of the sensor was measured as 12.8 megohm at 65% relative humidity. When the desorption line was examined, it is seen that the R-square value is 0.96. This value shows that the curve is very close to linear again. As a result, the resistance of the sensor is quite linear and inversely proportional to increase in humidity. According to these results, the relative humidity of the environment, room, or chamber can be estimated approximately by using the equations shown on the curves by measuring the resistance value of the sensor. Conclusion: in the study, a flexible and variable humidity sensor was fabricated by PET printing methods. Different synthetic temperatures and durations were tried on the printed samples in order to optimize the conductivity of nickel and silver ink mixture. To determine the behavior of the humidity sensor against humidity, the humidity sensor was placed in a closed humidity chamber. The relative humidity in the chamber was increased from 65% to 100%, then reduced from 100% to 65%. It was seen that sensor resistance was inversely proportional to the relative humidity. This flexible and variable humidity sensor is considered to be usable for feature health and monitoring applications. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and the topic is really nice, which you have taken, and one of its new topic which you have seen it. Really good efforts which you have put. Right, we will be in touch. Please share our email address. We will see. We will discuss offline later. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Any participants have any queries can connect Meltem through her email address. Thank you. Now, next I will call upon the next presenter for the day then. Thank you, Meltem. You can stop sharing. I will call the next presenter. Now I call upon Maut. Sorry if I'm pronouncing your wrong name. Martin. Yes, you're muted. You're muted. You need to unmute yourself.
Sure.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Today, my talk is about towards a model for simulating water droplet movement down a leaf surface. So we are going to present the following: why develop a new model for simulating water droplet movement on a leaf surface, and then what's our water droplet model, then the forces that impact the droplet motion, then the droplet experiment, and then finally our future work. Why develop a new model? Just a second, please. Yeah, that's it. Why develop a new model for simulating water droplet movement on a leaf surface? The reason behind this model is to understand how a droplet of water, pesticide, or nutrient will be absorbed through the leaf surface. Then, in the simulation of pesticide application to planet surfaces, it may be important not only to model splash, but also to find the path that the droplet of pesticide spread on the planet flows along a leaf surface before it leaves the surface or comes to a standstill. And finally, knowledge of this behavior may be used to determine the effectiveness of treatment and eventually to develop certain pesticides that have the ability to protect leaves for a longer period of time. So that's the purpose for developing our model. Droplet model. Two forces impact the droplet movement in our model. The first force is called external, or we call it external force, denoted by Fx(ext), and this force is due to gravity, and we denote the gravity F capital sub G. And then the second force is, we call it internal force, and it's denoted by F(int), and it consists of resistant force F sub R and friction force F sub F. And as you can see from this diagram, the friction force is down towards the gravity, and that's dP. It's mean the direction of the droplet movement, and that's the normal of the surface. In our model, the leaf surface is defined as a mesh of triangle. As you can see from this figure, our surface is defined as a mesh of triangle across which the droplet moves. The motion of the droplet is computed over each triangle, and that's the advantage of using a triangular mesh. Now we come back to the internal forces. Let's explain a little bit about internal forces. Resistant force originates from the interfacial tension exists between droplet and surface, and F sub R, which is the resistant force, equal minus alpha multiplied direction of droplet movement, which is dP, as we explained before, where alpha is the affinity, which is set experimentally in advance, and it's assumed to be constant over each triangle for simplicity. The second force is the friction force, is a modeled as a linear viscous force with a constant negative vector due to the surface roughness. And its equation is F sub F, which is the friction force, equal K sub F multiplied by velocity. The direction of the droplet movement, as you can see from the diagram, which is denoted by dP, the direction of the water droplet movement is computed over by applying the Gram-Schmidt orthogonalization algorithm to orthogonalize the external force against the normal of the surface. So the direction of the droplet movement given by F external, which is the external force, minus N, which is the normal of the surface, multiplied F external multiplied by N again, which is the normal or the unit normal vector. Now, our model equation, we used Newton's second law, which is given by, everybody knows Newton's second law, F equal M, which is the mass of the droplet, and multiplied by A, which is the acceleration of the droplet. So the Newton's second law is used to determine the feature of the motion, so that the droplet then is specified according to position, denoted by P, acceleration A, velocity V, and mass M. The forces acting on the droplet, which are the external and internal forces, then taken into account to derive the model. Our model derived as follow: M dv over dt equal m multiplied dp, direction of movement, plus external force plus internal force, where k, which is the resistance coefficient, equal 6 by r mu, considered as a sphere, where the droplet here considered as a sphere. The velocity then can be obtained from the previous model equation. Let's go back. So that's our model equation. We can obtain the velocity by dividing the whole equation by m and then integrating the equation. So the velocity become, as you can see, this equation. That's the velocity equation. By integrating velocity equation, we get the position equation. As you can see, this is the position equation. Where V naught, P naught, and dP, there is a sub k here, represent the initial velocity, initial position in direction of droplet movement at the time tk when it's enter the kth triangle. At a specific triangle, we call it kth triangle. In our model, the leaf surface is defined as a mesh of triangular, as we mentioned before. The motion of the droplet is computed over each triangle, and the equation of the velocity and position, as we mentioned in the previous slides, equation of velocity and equation of position, is calculated at any time t using the previous equation. So we took this as an example. This is one triangle. So let's go back. This is our triangular mesh, our surface. So we picked one triangle to explain the process of droplet motion. So you see the droplet enter the kth, we call it kth triangle. The droplet enter kth triangle at time tk. So the entrance time, we call it tk. We have entrance position, we call it p naught. We have entrance velocity, we call it v naught. Then the transit time, we call it t, which is equal the entrance time plus the transit time tf. And the droplet exit each triangle. So we have exit position and exit velocity. That's the process explained in this slide. The droplet moves from one triangle to another, and the MATLAB command tsearch is used to determine the triangle. So to know which triangle is the droplet located in, we used a MATLAB command called tsearch. So that's some of our experiment. As you can see, figure 1, if we place the droplet under the vine, as we expected, it's gonna move down. If we place it in the upper side, it's gonna cross the vine. In the third figure, it seems like the forces impact the droplet across the leaf vein is stronger. So the droplet moves to the leaf vein, then start moving along the vein. So that's what we use in our experiment. That's a frangipani leaf. We use sonic digitizer. We put some red dots on the leaves where we start the droplet motion, and that sonic digitizer to know the coordinates of the droplets on the leaf. To validate the droplet model, a series of water droplet experiments were performed in a freshly cut frangipani leaf. As we said before, initially 5 artificial dots were marked on the leaf surface, and these dots used a reference plane to the droplet. Then sonic digitizer device was used to measure the location of these 5 points along with the series of boundary points, including the endpoints of the vein. Then 4 additional data points and the string attached to the clamp holding the leaf were also recorded. Finally, these points were used to determine the direction of gravity with respect to the reference plane of the leaf surface. Then a syringe was used to measure the droplet mass and the different mass of size. We selected 0.1 and 0.2 gram used in our experiment. A video camera recorded the path that the droplet traversed on the leaf surface. We used it also. Laser scanner was used to capture the leaf surface point for the reconstruction of virtual leaf surface. And finally, 2 different leaf orientation were chosen to simulate the droplet movement. The second orientation was chosen to be steeper angle than the first orientation. So basically, in the first figure, these blue dots are the scanned point of the frangipani leaf collected using laser scanner, and the red dots using the sonic digitizer to represent the droplet. And figure A is the first orientation, figure B is second orientation, which is steeper than the first orientation. And this is figure C is triangulation of A, and D is the triangulation of B. See this is this figures recorded figure A, figure A, C, E recorded using a camera, while figure B, D, F is in using our MATLAB program. So you see in figure A, the water droplets start moving on the lower side of the leaf, which is, if you look to figure B, it's in our experiment, it's almost exact. Our model captured the exact movement here of the droplet. As well, figure C and D, you see start moving from the upper side to the leaf vein, then along the leaf vein, which is same exactly what we obtained in our model, similar in last figure. Here, some more experiment, and as we can see, our model captured the leaf movement exactly. So our conclusion is that our model captured the motion of the droplet on the surface quite well, and then by changing the model parameter, we can simulate the motion of pesticide droplet or nutrient, and then collision between droplets and liquid straight behind the droplet will be included in our future model. Thank you for listening. Any question?
Thank you, Mohd, for your wonderful presentation. Yes, please share your email address. Right, good to see. What are the applications of this project?
As we said before, it has many applications. Like to understand how droplet of pesticide or nutrient will be observed through the leaf
basically
surface.
For agricultural perspective, you can get to know that. Okay, wonderful, good result. And like experimental and practical results are matched completely.
Yes.
How much error it was showing? What is the error difference?
You know, here we don't measure like in terms, or it's not like a numerical numbers.
Okay.
Here it's like we cross-check if our model captured the same movement as in real. So that's basically what we're looking for.
Okay.
So if we change the model parameter, sometimes the droplet doesn't move as we are expecting. So the model parameter has big impact on this simulation.
Yeah, sure. Sounds good. Sounds good. Thank you, Mohd. We'll be in touch. Please share your email ID. Next, I would like to call upon Patience Aseweb. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, please share your presentation. After that, I will be calling Vinay Agarwal. Please stick to a time of 8 minutes maximum. Huh?
Right. Okay.
Can you stop the share screen, Mohd? You need to stop the share screen.
Yeah, sure.
Trying to share my screen.
Yeah, please stop the share screen because it's, yeah, now you can start.
Yeah, I'm trying to share it, but unfortunately it's telling me to open a system. I'm unable to. I sent my slides. Can somebody help me project?
No, it will be with the tech team, the development team, so it won't be with us. So we'll do one thing. We'll just go ahead with the next presenter. Vinay Agarwal is waiting. In the meantime, you can just sort it out and download the presentation again. Vinay, you can just start the presentation. Yeah, please go ahead.
So, hello everyone. Is my am I audible?
Yeah, we can get to see. Please.
Okay. Are my slides visible?
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. The title of my paper is West Glass Powder as a partial replacement of sand in concrete, and these are the contents of this presentation, where I will start the introduction. Let me introduce the topic. Concrete offers unique advantages as it can be manufactured to the desired shape and strength. But for economical production of concrete, it should be durable and sustainable also. So various studies have been conducted worldwide to use recycled and waste material in construction because it is consumed in the large quantities, and because of their large quantities we can utilize the recycled and waste material into the construction activities. Okay, so more than 21 million metric tons of consumer products each year in India, including glass, is produced. And like the production of cement, glass production is also an energy intensive process and accounts for 12% of the total cost of these cells. So the glass segment, which is around 10% of India's 60,000 crore packaging industry, which is, and this industry is growing at a rate of 15%. So 15% every year. And when it comes to glass waste, it is 100% recyclable. And because of poor collection and recycling system, only 45% of it is recycled, and other 55% is part of the solid waste. So the waste, which is the glass waste, which is inert, inorganic, non-biodegradable material, and its disposal in landfill creates severe environmental difficulties. So various researchers uh, have shown interest in glass waste because their are quite clear, that they need to save the landfill space, operational costs, and sustainable construction practices. So they have used glass waste in multiple forms, like manufacturing concrete, manufacturing mortar, bricks, and improving soil strength. So as far as our study is concerned, this study attempts to investigate mechanical and workability properties of concrete manufactured by using West glass powder, which is partially replaced by the real river sand. And for this purpose, what we did is we locally procured glass bottles, which were crushed and mixed in concrete in place of sand in varying quantity. And the varying quantity was 5%, 10%, 15%, and 20%. And then we compared the same with the controlled mix, which was 0%. This is a literature review where various researchers have shown the problem that using glass waste in concrete as a fine aggregate provides better solution for its disposal problem and prevents depletion of natural resources. As we all know that river sand, which is being used in, which is being conventionally used in the concrete. So, and it is a natural resource. So if we need to prevent its depletion, we need to use any waste material in the concrete. So waste glass bottles, which are also which are actually fused silica glass, which is rich in silica, that is SiO2, which ranges from 70 to 75%, also contains considerable amount of alkaline earth oxides like Na2O, CaO, and MgO in the ranges of 12 to 16%, 5 to 11%, and 1 to 3% respectively. And we also measured the slump value, and also seen the literature that some value of fresh concrete increases gradually with increasing replacement of glass powder up to 40%. And one of the researchers reported that concrete containing glass powder has a very high workability as compared to control mix. Workability is the flowability of the concrete. These are more literatures which suggest the use of glass powder in concrete at the replacement level of 40 to 50%. So third part is materials. All the materials used in the present study were locally sourced from Udaipur and nearby industries. The cement which was used was fly ash based Portland pozzolan cement (PPC). Coarse aggregates used were conforming Indian Standard 383 and were procured from a local supplier. We also did some tests on coarse aggregates like specific gravity, crushing value, impact value, and water absorption. And the result of the same are given in the table on the right hand side. Fine aggregates, the fine aggregates used in this study were procured from locally available river sand that passed from 4.75 mm sieve, which confirmed the IS as per IS 383 2016. And similarly, if you can see that there is a glass powder also, a specific gravity of sand and glass powder are almost same. This is a glass powder. We use the beverage bottles which were collected from nearby urban area. After washing and drying, green beverage bottles were crushed into a ball mill. Soda lime is the main ingredient of these bottles, and soda lime glasses are comprise approximately of 73% of silicon dioxide, 70% of sodium oxide, and 10% of lime. And this is the process how we used the mechanism of collection, cleaning, drying, washing, and drying, then crushing them, then sieving as per our size requirement as per IS 383, and then at last we used it in concrete. In the figure 2, you can see that how these glass bottles are mixed in the natural river sand. This is the methodology, and two types of plain concrete mixes were prepared in this study by using wave etching method, and the ingredients were mixed in the proportion of 1:2:4 using a concrete mixture. Cubical mounts were cast for compressive strength testing. So the first mixture was control mix, which contained 0% glass waste using pozzolana Portland cement, coarse aggregate and fine aggregate at a water binder ratio of 0.5. And another type of mix which was consist of glass waste, replacing fine aggregate by 5, 10, 15, and 20%, and at the same water binder ratio, that is 0.5. This is the methodology. This is workability test which we conducted on the freshly made concrete, which was measured by slump cone test as per IS 1199. Compressive strength test was conducted in accordance with IS 516 1959. These are the results in this discussion, where you can see in the graph that the workability of the concrete increases marginally with the increase in the replacement of glass powder till 20% replacement level. And similar studies were reported by similar observations were reported by a few other studies as well. This is the compressive strength. The compressive strength variation of control concrete and glass and concrete for curing periods of 7 and 20 days are evident. The results clearly indicate that the use of glass sand as a substitute for natural sand in concrete led to an increase of compressive strength at early stages of curing as compared to the control mix. So you can see that 0% at 0% it's 16.66 Newton per mm square, whereas it is 17.5 at 5 and 10% of replacement level. So on further curing at 28 days, the compressive strength was found to be decreasing with the increasing percentage of the result. So the loss in compressive strength can be attributed to a weaker link and poor adhesion that developed between the crushed glass particles and cement paste at the ITZ, that is interfacial transition zone, due to smooth surface and angular curved edges of the glass particles, and the interaction of aggregates and cement paste in the concrete at ITZ is critical for concrete strength because ITZ dominates in the concrete's mechanical properties because of the linkages. And however, the test finding shows that when 10% of natural sand is replaced by with the glass powder, the recorded typical compressive strength values at both early and later stages have been least negative impact in terms of compressive strength. So we can say that we were successful in replacing at least 10% of the natural sand with the glass paste without any negative impact in terms of compressive strength. So the superior compressive strength value can be attributed to the glass powder's particle shape, which has a higher, larger surface area than rounded natural sand particles, allowing for a better bonding with the cement paste, resulting in much better concrete. So this is the conclusion that as a replacement percentage of the waste powder in sand content, as the replacement percentage of waste powder in sand content increases, the slump of freshly produced concrete specimen marginally decreases till the highest replacement level. And however, the degree of workability remains in the medium range, which is between 50 to the 100 mm. So there is no problem for that. At the 10% level, replacement level, strength values at both early and later stages have the least negative impact in terms of compressive strength, and workability and strength depend on geometry of glass powder particles. If the glass powder having more surface area bonds better with the cement paste, it will result in the higher strength of the concrete. So we can have another method of crushing the glass bottles, and then we can have the different shape, and with the different shape we can get some different geometry, and from that we can get higher strength also. So sand may be replaced up to 10% by weight as per this study by glass border in concrete for effective solid waste management, management and conservation, and to make sand conservation, and to make the concrete more and more sustainable. So these are the references. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your wonderful presentation. Good work. Please share the email address so that the team can get in touch with you for any queries.
Sure.
Thank you. I'll now call upon Sean for the presentation. Yeah, you're muted, Sean. Yeah, hello. Please share the screen. Yeah, please share the screen.
Yes, okay. It's my turn, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm gonna start to share the screen. Okay, now we are turned to the field of education. I am physics Sean Bhubaneswar, and my co-author is Pongwat Phongkantha. We are from Thailand. Today, I want to present my study, the effect of using social media to reduce the loneliness of the elderly. This study aimed to find out how Thai elderly people feeling of loneliness were affected by their choice and use the digital media. Social media application and network site can enable older people to maintain social contact and actively engage in their communities. Technology not only helped prevent older people from becoming so socially isolated and lonely. According to the social media may overcome this barrier as online social network and online discussion forum can be used to engage the social contact regardless of geographical locations. Elderly people like to send to news media, but it doesn't mean they don't need the social media. The elderly may quickly cut off communication when they retire, when they lost loved one, or when their children move far away from them. Brown and Bound point out ICT are the benefit in reducing elderly people isolate and feeling of isolate of society. According to data obtained from the World Health Organization 2017 related to lifestyle need of 84,497 participants aged over 60. The percentage of those who prefer to go out and work rather than stay at home was 42%. This data shows that remaining 58% of the elderly want to stay at home, perhaps thinking that they lack of the ability to work. The material and procedure. This study phased off the north of Thailand into village, Chomping village and Sidon Moon village. We give to the 100 elderly people about the questionnaire was made to volunteers contribution and constitution of this section. First of the questionnaire, the first section related to the demographic. The second section is the loneliness scale that adapt from the Russell. And the third section, the elderly person choice of media type. Look at the table, and maybe you can just look at for the less number. That means there are more loneliness. About the place between Chomping and Sidon Moon, two places that Sidon Moon is the loneliness more than Chomping. And about participant gender, female participants feel lonelier than their male counterpart. The average of the participants was aged who were 66 or over were found to be lower compared to those under 66. But in the education level, no significant difference was found in terms of loneliness perception. About the participant marital status, with a single participant feeling lonelier than the married participant. In terms of occupation, participants who were not working felt lonelier than those still working. Regarding health status, participants who had health problems felt lonelier than those with no health problem. In table 2, the two magazine and digital media were provided for participants to use. And from the table, it showed that using social media had a better effect on loneliness than reading of the magazine. Therefore, the selection of social media production may be more suitable for reduced loneliness. So, in Table 3, cost tab between demographic variable and aim of use of social media instrument. Between those who had just primary school education and those who higher education, it was found that with higher education use digital media mostly for information. When participants were asked whether the social media and source of entertainment between those still working and not working. The older who were not working consume digital media more as a means of entertainment. So the table 4, correlation between the time spent of social media. That the significant relation was found between the time to spend social media tools such as Facebook and Instagram and their state of the loneliness. The relationship was negative relation, with those using Facebook and Instagram more experiencing a lower loneliness. That means Facebook and Instagram are usually the elderly people often use more than another or other social media. So the study support that part of the computer media format can remain elderly friendly in the context of education. The use of social media on computer and mobile phone can act as the virtual media for the elderly to overcome feeling of loneliness. The develop of the training program to improve the other people so they can interact with the connect. So another researcher or the scientist could be to develop a social media that's more easier for the elderly because they can use and can reduce the loneliness. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean, for your wonderful presentation. Yes. The second. Please share your email address so we can get in touch with you. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Now I would like to call the next presenter then. Yeah.
All right. It's Pongwat,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, please share your presentation.
All right. Okay. Wait a second.
Kindly restricted to maximum of 6 minutes.
All right. All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Sean, yeah, you're. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, please
Oh,
share your presentation.
Yeah, let's be thinking about.
Is there any technical difficulties? We'll call the next presenter then.
All right, give me a second. Oh my God. Okay.
There are a few requests from other participants. I'll just call them and then we can go next.
Okay, I can go next. Let's another first.
Yeah, I call upon Texel to share your presentation. Texel, you're there?
Yes, I am here.
Please share your presentation.
Okay. So my screen is visible to participants.
Yes, please go ahead and request you to kindly restrict
Sure.
of 8 minutes.
Sure. Myself Rohit, I'm research scholar in Malviya National Institute of Technology, Jaipur, and my topic is sustainable construction practices with vibro-compacted hollow concrete blocks made of stone waste. And I am achieving sustainability by two means. One is nowadays recently high-rise buildings are being constructed in most of the cities. So there is a issue of loads in tall building, and loads come through the dead weight of masonry work, which can be reduced by using these hollow blocks significantly. And the second part of this sustainable practices is these blocks are made of stone waste. So my topic is this sustainable construction practices. So what I did, I just collect the Kota stone waste. Let me introduce the Kota stone waste. It is the one of the limestone found in Kota, Jhalawad and Chittor district of Rajasthan in India. It is very fine grained siliceous calcium carbonate rock of sedimentary nature. It is found in different colors. Rajasthan is endowed richly with the foggy appearance of blue and brown Kota limestone. And in Ramganj Mandi area, which produced Kota stone waste about 1.35 million tons every year. And you can see in the pic that there is a huge huge accumulation of stone waste nearby road areas and fresh land. And these are the products which is found in type of waste. One is boulder in form of boulder, stone waste, and stone slurry. Second part is stone slurry, which is generated as byproduct of the manufacturing process. Dumping is a challenge for above waste, and I'm just try to use these waste in hollow concrete block, and the ingredient of hollow concrete blocks are cement, conventional fine and coarse aggregate of size 6 mm and 10 mm, which are either natural resources or the material produced from natural resources. So I tried for full and partial replacement for basic ingredients. So these are the pick of waste generated through quota stone, and first pick shows the waste in form of boulders, which is crushed in 6 mm and 10 mm, and last pick is of stone slurry. These are the basic property of quota stone waste, which primarily consists of calcium oxide as 37.3%. I just manufactured waste in two form, 10 mm, 6 mm as coarse aggregate, and crushed rock fine mixed with the slurry. So I just tried to replace with two series. In series first, I replaced fine aggregate with crushed sand in with the interval of 20, 40, 60, 80, and 100%. And in series second, I replaced coarse aggregate with the regular interval of 20, 40, 60, 80, and 100. So I just take a mix for hollow concrete block of 100 pieces, size 400, 200, and 100 mm, with cement 130 kg, water 65 kg, fine aggregate, and coarse aggregate. And this is the manufacturing. It is a short video where I manufactured these hollow concrete blocks in industry. This is quota stone waste in fine aggregate. It's 10 mm coarse aggregate, 6 mm, or this is quota stone. So I just, this is mixed in batching plant. Vibro compacted hollow concrete blocks made of stone waste with two replacements. One is fine aggregate with the interval of 20%, and one replacement is for coarse aggregate. And I just found that 7 days compressive strength in replacement of fine aggregate is it is showing that up to 60% it is somehow comparable to the control mix. In case of coarse aggregate replacement, I found that the 100% replacement shows the better results in comparison to control hollow concrete blocks. In 28 days compressive strength, it shows the same trend as up to 60% replacement. It is showing good compressive strength. And in case of coarse aggregate replacement, it represents the 100% replacement. It's showing the best results for the compressive strength. And in conclusion, we can say that we can use 60% replacement of fine aggregate with quota stone waste. We can use 100% replacement of conventional coarse aggregate with quota stone waste. However, we can replace fine aggregate as well as coarse aggregate up to any extent, because it at least it covers the minimum strength specified by the Indian standards. So these are the hollow blocks, and these are the future scope of study in which we can have intensive research on different durability tests. So if you have any question, please let me know.
Thank you, sir, for your wonderful presentation. So, request you to share the email address, and people who
Sure, sir.
will share the queries.
Oh.
Thank you.
Oh.
Yeah. Next, I would like to call upon patients.
The next presentation.
The request you to stop share screening. Yeah. Thank you. And now you can. Yeah. Please go ahead.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Bhubaneswar and my co-author is Session-1. Today, we would like to present our finding in the title of the problem-oriented project-based learning as learning strategy for enhancing logical thinking ability in college students. Let's start with the introduction. When we talk about in the last decades, the emergence of the diverse student is excited to refer streaming the high competency in 21st century. That back to related the college student how to develop and college student ability is kind of the one of the key of the process of the mental reservation and the complex problem solving. When we look at the approach, it's a very significant learning approach at the project-based learning. For in the future, we are integrated to problem-oriented. That's what the transform into the classroom that work direct to promote student learning. That more the competency. However, that is the little described about present in the stand of the whether students are developmentally ready to think logically and what the specific logical concept can be developed at a very academic discipline and about the gender when we talk about across the discipline and the gender. The purpose of this study, we are to investigate the effect of the problem-oriented project-based learning approach in the student logical thinking ability, and also to describe the difference of the logical thinking ability across gender and across the academic discipline. Let's talk to the methodology in this research. For the participant in the research, we used a sample was drawn by using simple random sampling technique. For the sample is 230 students. They are enrolled in the logical thinking course in the college. And when we need to know about the logical thinking ability on the college student, we use the logical thinking ability test includes 20 items, consists of the ordering domain, comparing domain, and contrast domain, evaluating domain, and selecting domain. That all the test is the situation question. For the procedure, we use a quasi-experimental research design, and the one group plus test only design. When we talk about the procedure in the classroom or in the paper, in the project, the problem-oriented project-based learning approach, we start with seeking the current classroom learning problem during the COVID-19 pandemic. And also we form a small group to ask students to define the topic as the project task. After that, a college student needs to research and make a brainstorm about the problem-solving guideline and looking for the data to support their project. After that, they present the project in the classroom. The next step, we do a data analysis. We do on descriptive statistics such as arithmetic mean or the percentage. And also we use the t-test and analysis of the variance as we know ANOVA. One of the criteria to talk about college student thinking ability, we use this criteria to interpret the college student logical thinking ability. We separate to the 4 categories. We use the percentage as the criteria to refer the student ability in the 4 category at the 4 level. Let's show on your screen about the score. Let's see the result of this project or this paper. Let's start with the first one. We talk about the college student logical thinking ability. as we use the criteria as the previous presentation, we have the 4 categories, but the results show only 3 categories in the logical thinking ability on the high level, moderate level, and low level. As you see in the presentation, the highest proportion or the highest percentage of the logical thinking ability level on the high level is about 60%. And it's very small number in the low level is a 3%. Resulting the overall using the grand mean is about 78.8% that show the student, most of them are in the high level. Let's see in the next result. This table show you to test about the population, like all of the students who enroll in the logical thinking and cloud course. When we test with a number is 15, that means the student has the score is 15, and think about the percent is 75% in the high level. They show the significant difference on the 15 score or 75% with the p-value at 0.00. On the next result that show you on the result of test of the analysis of student logical ability across gender. The result show that the gender between male and female had a different, significantly different in the logical thinking ability that show you on the t-value like 25.17 with the p-value is a 0.010. And the last one, we use the analysis of variance is, as you know, ANOVA to test about the logical thinking ability across academic discipline. That show all of the 4 academic disciplines. They took a class that show the logical thinking abilities were not significant different across, you see, across the academic discipline, but they show the college student in Thai language major or the discipline have the high score or the meaning on the thinking ability in the highest of the 4 group. For conclusion, college students report that the high proportion of logical thinking ability were in the high level. That means 25. They are over in the 75%, in which the college student logical thinking ability were significantly higher than the 15 score, that higher than 75% criteria. When we consider the gender difference, as you saw on the table, the college student logical thinking ability were significantly different between male and female, in which the male college student logical thinking were greater than female, but not significant different in across discipline. For implication and the future research, and we talk about how to implication, the result of this study could effort the problem-oriented project-based learning approach could be developed college student logical thinking ability as educator or the people who work in the school should be considered about the approach into the classroom. There should be emphasis in developing logical thinking, such as the mathematics. Even like in the future research, if you need to look at for the like compiling the development logical thinking ability approach, like you should be considered for understanding logical ability differences when we treat at least like 2 different approach. We can compare in the different approach like project-based learning or brain-based learning, and also like concept-based learnings. That's all our finding in this research. Thank you so much. And any question?
Thank you for your wonderful presentation. Now I call upon the next presenter for the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, please. Patience, are you there?
Yes, sir. Sir, audible, sir?
I think there is some technical issue. Someone is talking. Please mute the other participant.
Do I mute?
Yes. No, please, you talk, you continue.
Okay. All right. Good afternoon. It's morning where I am. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I will briefly just take you through.
Request you to kindly come to, make it fast because and take maximum of 6 minutes.
Sure. So I'm coming to present on clinical risk management and comparing public and private hospitals in Ghana. Please move on. Move. Okay. So by way of introduction, I just want to give an overview of what clinical risk management is all about. It is actually about a bigger picture, which is on clinical governance. And clinical governance is simply a framework put in place in most health facilities to ensure good quality healthcare delivery. So risk management is just a component of the bigger picture, which is clinical governance. And the overall goal is to make sure the quality of healthcare is delivered. Shall we go to the problem, please? Can you move to the yeah, all right. So the reason why I'm actually investigating risk management in a hospital or in health facilities is because there are a lot of reports about inability to detect and treat illnesses. There are surgical errors being reported every now and then from our health facilities. Patients go to the hospital and they stay there longer than necessary. And it is noticed from previous studies that this could just be some kind of errors and unreported events that might have been taking place in these facilities, and that is resulting in all these bad reports from the facilities. So let's go to the objectives of this particular investigation. Maybe slide 6, please. Right. So mainly I will be, this research was based on looking at the risk management policies in both public and private facilities, and also the risk management practices in these two facilities, and look at what are the challenges in these two facilities. So basically, these are the 3 areas of investigation in this research. Let's go to 12, slide 12, please. Right, so by way of literature, literature was reviewed around just trying to categorize which hospitals are public and which ones are private, and look at an overview of clinical risk management according to the World Health Organization and other studies, and empirical studies that have been done in the area of clinical risk management. And from that, the gap that was established is what led to this investigation. Let's move on to 16. I will skip all this because of time. Let's go to the methodology. So this research was based, it was a multiple case methodology that was used. We looked at 2 facilities in the Greater Accra region, which is the capital of Ghana. So basically these 2 facilities were chosen because the private facility that was used is one of the biggest in Ghana, and it is well resourced, and it was used as a COVID-19 treatment center. And the public one that was equally chosen was a very well resourced facility. It's a government-owned facility in the Greater Accra region. And so with these 2 facilities, we sought for ethical clearance and gathered data from 2 main respondents, and these 2 people were in charge of managing risk in these facilities. So we conducted interviews, transcribed the data, generated teams based on the objectives of the study, and then we had these findings to share. Let's move on to 17. Let's skip this and go to the discussion, please. 27, I think, right, okay. So based on, I've told you how data was gathered, but the findings we had to compare with what the World Health Organization has stipulated as best practices for risk management in health facilities, and that is to determine the risk, evaluate it, minimize it, and if possible, probably avoid it if possible, and then calculate the cost saved by reducing the risk as well as the cost if the risk was to occur. So let's go on to what we found in this research. Next slide, please. So it was found in this study that both private and public hospitals in Ghana actually monitor incidents. When something goes wrong, they had records of what went wrong in the health facilities. And this was in agreement with previous studies, indicating that reporting of incidents is one key and major step in minimizing risk in health facilities. And when it comes to the implementation of risk management practices, the private hospitals reviews every form of healthcare that is provided to patients, unlike the public hospitals where usually they will start investigating when something happens or something goes wrong. So those were the key differences in terms of practice. The private facilities will investigate every care given, but the public hospitals will only wait when there's an issue or there's a complaint. Health providers are the key hindrances when it comes to the public institutions because they were not reporting, and they were not reporting because they were afraid of being punished or being maybe suspended or some punitive measures meted up to them. And so most of the challenges when it comes to the public institutions had to do with their human resource. Other than the challenges in the public sector, which was more on human resource, the private sector had issues with their structures, which is they used more of virtual reporting. They use technology. And so sometimes the technology fails due to power, because we have power outage issues in Ghana. And sometimes maybe the internet is not even stable enough for the report to be seen on a dashboard that is used in the private sector. So those were the key, move on please, move to the next slide please. Those were the key differences that were found in the clinical risk management in both public and private hospitals. One had to do with human resource, that is the public sector. One had to do more with their resources, their structures, which is the virtual reporting system, which was having issues because of power outages and internet connectivity challenges. So the study noted that private hospitals were more effective in implementing clinical risk management policies as compared to public hospitals, because one of the notable findings of this study was also the fact that the private sector had a particular official appointed to just look at risk management, look at quality issues. But when it came to the public sector, they had one clinical director who handled all other cases that are clinical, including risk management. And so the commitment and the effectiveness was less in the public sector. So that would be, let's move, that would be the key differences between the public and the private. But by way of recommendation, from the findings, it is clear that the public sector needs more education with the human resource for them to report and not be afraid that they will be punished. And then the private sector will have to have more backup for their structures and the power issues that makes it difficult for them to minimize risk in their sector. Basically, these are the key differences. And the other recommendation will be that the public facilities will have to appoint a particular person to be in charge of risk management and not just a general director who handles all other issues, because risk management in healthcare is a very critical issue that involves lives and must be given the necessary attention. Thank you very much.
Thank
Any
you
questions?
for sticking to sharp 8 minutes. Appreciate it. Wonderful presentation.